Hello and welcome to Morrison and Gang, and this is the Me, and today we're going to talk about leprosy. The picture here shows a person suffering from leprosy. These legions are legions of leprosy, which we'll be talking very soon. Leprosy is an ancient chronic infectious disease caused by the bacteria Mycobacterium leprae. It is ancient, it was in the time of Jesus, as they say, and it principally affects the skin, causing disfigurements and the peripheral nerve. Leprosy is now very much prevalent in developing countries. It was the bacteria causing leprosy was extracted and taken out from the lesions by Hansen from Norway in 1873. That's why the disease is also called Hansen's disease. So the bacteria are rod-like bacteria, and they are acid-fast bacillus stained by Jill Nielsen stain, and they cannot be grown in artificial media because they are actually obligate parasites, and they can be grown in animals like nine-banded armadillo and the footpad of mice. This is the nine-banded armadillo for you. The disease is believed to be transferred by droplet infections and from contacts with the infected persons, and the disease can be classified on the basis of its spectrum and its infection type: tuberculoid, borderline, and lepromatous. Borderline actually consists of three different divisions: borderline tuberculoid, which resembles tuberculoid type; borderline, which is the pure borderline; and borderline lepromatous, which resembles lepromatous. WHO, however, classifies on the basis of number of bacteria found in the slit skin smear, and if the slit skin smear comes negative, it is called paucibacillary. Pauci meaning scanty with less number of bacilli, and positive meaning multibacillary with large number of bacilli. The paucibacillary includes indeterminate leprosy, tuberculoid leprosy, borderline tuberculoid, while the multibacillary includes borderline lepromatous, and lepromatous leprosy. Now, if you see at the clinical spectrum of leprosy, we can see that the cell-mediated immunity is very high in tuberculoid type, while it is very low in lepromatous type. But the skin lesions, number of bacilli, and slit skin taste all become positive, and the skin lesions and number of bacilli increase when the clinical spectrum of leprosy increases from tuberculoid to lepromatous, or downgrades from tuberculoid to lepromatous. There is another type of leprosy called indeterminate leprosy, in which there is single macule patch, which is hypopigmented, means less pigmented than the skin, but faintly erythematous. The sensation is normal, but sometimes it's impaired, and it cannot be determined whether it's tuberculoid or lepromatous. At that time, it's called indeterminate leprosy. This is an example of indeterminate leprosy. Now to the tuberculoid type. In tuberculoid, because of high cell-mediated immunity against the bacilli, in these the patches are few, the lesions are few, usually less than 5, and the patches are hypopigmented erythematous plaque, and these vary from few cm to several centimeters. The borders are well defined, the sensation is impaired. Now, why is the sensation impaired? That is because granulomas are formed in the skin, which impairs the peripheral nerve transmission, nerve impulse transmission, and the part becomes devoid of sensation, while the slit skin smear taste is negative. So this is an example of tuberculoid leprosy, which consists of two hypopigmented patches. Another example of tuberculoid leprosy, and the final example of tuberculoid leprosy, which I displayed in the start of the video. Borderline leprosy displays character of both tuberculoid and lepromatous. It is neither pure tuberculoid nor pure lepromatous. It has few to many asymmetrical patches, and maybe it has sometimes well-defined borders. Sensory impairments might be there, or it might not be. And slit skin smear is usually positive, like lepromatous type, so it demonstrates both the characters. And peripheral nerves are asymmetrically enlarged, like in tuberculoid. So this is the table comparing the three types: borderline tuberculoid, borderline, and borderline lepromatous. You can go through it. This is an example of borderline tuberculoid leprosy with large anesthetic. This is another example of borderline leprosy with less defined asymmetrically distributed patches. The same borderline lepromatous leprosy. In lepromatous leprosy, there are several numerous ill-defined lesions, macules, patches, papules, and nodules, and these are symmetrically distributed all over the body. And there is loss of eyebrows and eyelashes. There is leonine faces, which means the face looks like lion face, and there is no sensory impairments. The peripheral nerves works okay, but they might sometimes be enlarged, and if they are enlarged, they are always symmetrically enlarged. As the skin smear is always positive. This is an example of lepromatous leprosy. Next example, and the third example, which clearly shows the leonine face. Usually, three drugs are used to treat leprosy: dapsone, rifampicin, and clofamicin. The three are used together in different regimen. In